Hello there, it's Kim again. It's been a while since I've done a video. Took a little break doing family stuff, and now I'm back to show you a Stampin' Up set called Scenic Adventures. Now the die cuts and the stamp sets that match them have the same name now, which is fabulous because we used to try and figure out which ones were which and which ones matched together before. Now they are the same name, so that's great. This comes with a really great die set, which cuts out a whole bunch of different like mountain scenes and trees and things like that. Again, it's Kim with Wild Rose and Pearl. I'm Stampin' Up rep based out of the Okanagan, British Columbia, Canada. So yeah, we're gonna work on this one today. I'm gonna pull in all the components here and all the measurements so we can start off with that. So today we have a piece of white paper, and this measures 4 1/4 by 11. That's our card base. Then we have a top layer that measures 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. That's the exact same size as here. We're going to emboss that, so I find it easier to emboss a piece of paper and then attach it to the front rather than embossing the top. Sometimes that's a little more tricky. And then we have another piece of white cardstock. This is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. We have a piece of balmy blue that is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. We have a piece of smoky slate that is 2 inches by 3 1/4. This is just an approximation. We also have a green piece, Old Olive, that is 3 1/4 by 2 inch. Again, approximation. It's going to be die cut. Then we have a piece of Coastal Cabana that is 3 1/4 by 3/4 of an inch. We have some linen thread. I'm going to show you that I've already tied it off and made a double bow. So basically I just folded my string in half, tied it, cut off the end, and we've got a double bow just to give it a little bit more texture, a little more thickness. And then we also have our neutral adhesive back sequins, and we're just going to use one silver one today of that. Okay, so that's that. So we'll get started here. This card base has been scored at 5 1/2 because again it's half a sheet of paper scored in half. So at 5 1/2. And I'm just going to use my bone folder to burnish that edge. Okay. Another tip is sometimes you'll notice that you're slightly a little bit over, and that's just the scoring line making its way into the fold. Always just make sure you do this side as your front side. Nobody will notice that the back is a slight bit smaller. So we'll put that aside. Then right away I'm going to pull this one in. I'm going to pull in my die cut machine, and we're going to emboss this in the 3D embossing folder, and it's called Birch, the birchwood. And I'm going to get a nice birchwood design on there. I think I'm probably going to go a little bit more this way, and I'm going to get a little bit more of the knotting in the wood there. So then I'm going to use my multi-purpose platform here, and we're just going to run that through on our embossing, on our big shot here. For the sake of the rest of the die cutting, I'm going to use the small one because I can. It just goes into the video a little bit easier. So now I'm just putting that away. Don't mind all the banging and brushing there. Looks like I've got a mark on that. Don't know how I did that. A little adhesive in there, I guess. You can just pull in an adhesive eraser and clean that off. It'll be covered with the trees. Okay. So next up, I'm going to take that and I'm going to put that right on the front of my card. That is the first step. Oh, I am out of tape runner here. And I always think I'm ready for my videos until I don't have a tape runner. Just 1 second. Gonna go grab another one. Oh gosh. Okay. I can't find another tape runner at the moment. So I'm just going to use some of my glue. We're just going to put a little bit of glue on there. Put my lid back on. Make sure I have it in my nifty holder. My husband made me there. 3D printed. Okay, and then we're just going to put this layer right on the front. Now with glue, the beauty part about glue is you can move it around a bit and make sure it fits just right on there. Okay. The next step I'm going to do is I'm going to take my piece of smaller cardstock here, and we're going to stamp in a couple of stamps from our stamp set here. So I'm going to use the word adventure. So we will pull that off. Adventure. I'm also going to use the sentiment. Cheers to another. So here's our stamp set here. You can see there's all these sentiments in there. Great sentiments. You're amazing is probably my favorite. But we're going to use adventure and cheers to another today. So first of all, in Balmy Blue, I've only got a little stamping spot in this color. I don't know where my Balmy Blue went, or if I just haven't ordered a Balmy Blue yet, which wouldn't be surprising. I don't have all the things. I collect as I go based on my favorites. So we're just going to stamp the word adventure here. I keep hitting the lights with my sunglasses. So on the bottom right hand corner, I'm going to stamp adventure right along the bottom here. Okay, there we go. We've got adventure along the bottom. I'll put that aside to be cleaned. Put my lid on, and then I'm going to pull in Smoky Slate, and I'm going to stamp cheers to another. Well, look at that. That wasn't stuck on very well. Okay, so we're going to line it up here and pick it up with my block. Then I'm going to stamp it with my Smoky Slate, and we're going to stamp that directly above. I'm going to take off my sunglasses. They keep hitting that. So we're going to stamp off cheers to another just straight above that adventure there. Cheers to another, just like that. And there we go. Okay. Then I'm going to take my clouds. So we have these clouds in the set here, and I'm going to stamp on the Balmy Blue at the top with my clouds. Now, if you have white craft ink, you can do it with white craft ink as well. Or if you want, you can use like a Balmy Blue and make a tone-on-tone color, and that will work as well. But I decided to use embossing powder because I just like the texture of having the extra shininess of the embossing. So we're going to do that today. I'm going to put that aside, and I'm going to bring in my embossing gun. Now this is going to make a little bit of noise when she heats up, and bring in all my toolkit here. So I've got an embossing buddy. You can use cornstarch powder, anything like that, or look online for a embossing buddy and you might be able to find something. All it does is just puts a powder on there to make sure that any static or oils from your fingers or anything are not going to grab the embossing powder and make it stick. Then I'm going to grab my Versamark ink here. I'm going to stamp my clouds in the Versamark ink. I'm going to put my clouds right along the top here. So I'm going right to the top edge of that. So now you can see my Versamark ink has got those clouds on there. Now this is slow drying ink, so it'll take a minute for it to dry. So in that time, that's when you pull in your embossing powder, and you're going to pour your embossing powder over that stamped image. And I'm just going to take it, I'm just going to flick it like this to get any excess powder off, and then you can see it's on there. Okay, then I'm going to put my cap on there. I'm going to put that powder back in once I'm done. I didn't have to use my brush today for fine detailing because it did pretty good job. So now I'm just going to take some tweezers here, and this is going to make a bit of noise. So you can either mute it or listen. So now what'll happen is I'll turn it like this. I'll use a circular motion. I'll heat it up. And as you heat it up, you'll see that it'll turn shiny. So let's just watch that. And you can heat it from underneath. That works as well. And eventually, as you can see, it's starting to turn bright white. And that's when your embossing powder there we go. When it turns bright white, you know that it is now attached. It's heated up and it's attached itself to the cardstock. And yeah, so there's your cloud images. Okay, next up, we'll put that Versamark, all that stuff away. Next up, we're gonna do some die cutting. So you can see there is a ton of die cuts in here. Really cool die cuts. Now, I did not use this. This is the cutest. There's a log, a little log set, and a flame so you can make a campfire, which I think is so great. But yes, that piece has come off of here. Gotta get it back under there. So that's your campfire set. You've got a stars. It kind of punctures holes. There's a stars and a moon. There's another mountain piece. You've got a grassy knoll. This one we're also going to use. This is our water. We're going to use the mountain, and we're going to use the trees, the double trees. There's some flowers, a tree line, a single tree. I've got a whole bunch of cuts back here, all those pieces. So it's great. And it is die cuts that stand alone. So they're not die cutting out any images. Those die cuts will stand alone. So if you just like the die cuts, you can get those and you won't feel like you're missing out with the pairing of the two. Okay, so let's bring in our little one now. Sorry for the shake again. There's always a little shake when we're doing our die cuts as well. Okay, so die cutting. Use with thin dies, using with standard embossing folders. And embossing folders. Okay, so I'm going to lay that one down. I'm going to do my trees and my mountain. I think I can do them at the same time. So let's just open that nice and wide. I'm going to do my mountain image here. And I want I'm going to go straight up to the top of my gray piece. So I'm lining up the top of the mountain to the top of the gray piece. That's why that way I'm getting all the rest of the mountain in there. And then I'm actually going to die cut this little piece. So this is just die cuts and cut images into it. And this is supposed to be a water line. So a reflection on the water. I'm going to put that flush with the top of one of those ends. And I'm going to die cut these pieces. I think I'm pretty good. I don't need post-it notes. Usually I use post-it notes, but I don't think I'll need them today. So we're going to push that through. I think I need to get that to bite. She is not biting today. Okay, let's get that edge in there. I don't know what I've done here. Come on. There we go. It's just a little bit tight today. Okay. Those are all lined up good still. Just a little bit of shake there. Okay. So we've got our mountain line here. Just gonna have to trim that a little bit. I obviously didn't push that 1 inch. Then this is the reflection light that I was saying. it just puts divots in it, like it does cuts. It doesn't cut through, like cut an edge. It just cuts in the ripples in the water into it, which is a really cool effect. And then I'm going to pull this back and I'm going to cut the trees next on this piece here, the green piece. I'm going to push that through again. This time it went really easily, so I don't know what was going on there earlier, but it's fine. I forgive you. Okay. All right. And now we're going to do a little bit of layering. So we're going to adhere this piece of the water. We're going to put that on the very bottom. So we're just adhering this nice and flat to the very bottom. I'm lining that up. Now I talked about how this reminded me of a beautiful mountain lake called Lake Louise. And it is a lake in Alberta. Beautiful park. And the lake is this beautiful, luscious kind of green color. So normally the die cut would have cut through this. I don't know why it didn't. Obviously had a bump in it, but that's okay. We're just going to use it as it is. But yeah, normally this would have cut through, so I don't know what I did. I also got a couple extra cuts there, so it must have been when it wasn't going through the machine right, and I double cut it. But yeah, it'll still work. I say all the time, nobody knows what the sample looks like, so whenever you're worried about whether or not somebody's going to know, oh, my card wasn't the same as the last time I made it, don't worry about it. They don't know what the original one looked like. They're just happy to get the card. Okay, so then I'm going to put my mountain range above that. So there we go. We've got our beautiful mountainscape now. Okay, and then we're going to adhere this one to this card right here. Now, this is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. This is supposed to be 3 1/2 by 4 1/4. So I've miscut that. We are going to remedy it. Unfortunately, you're going to see me fix this right directly on this video. And sometimes that happens. So we're going to go 3 1/2. I do not know how I mismeasured that. I had my measurements right in front of me when I was cutting. By 4 1/4. 3 1/2 by 4 1/4. I'm just going to come in here, restamp these two. Shouldn't take me long. So 3 1/2 by 4 1/4. We're stamping adventure in the bottom, right hand side. Cheers to another. You're seeing in real time how you can just fix things. Cheers to another. Perfect. Looking good so far. I had a little bump with my ink stamp pad. It's totally fine. We're just going to cover it up like that. So this is meant to look like a Polaroid card. Does anybody remember Polaroid cameras? They now have new cameras that are very similar to Polaroids. I'm trying to remember what the name of that is. I'd love it if you would tell me in the video. If you'd like to comment, then I will know that you know what it is. They're old Polaroid cameras. You had to shake them, and they had to, the light had to expose through this black paper, and then magically your image would appear. It's really cool. It's very cool magic. Photography magic. Okay, then we're going to place dimensionals on the back of my Polaroid camera. we're going to grab some Stampin' Dimensionals here. I am at the edge of this set. I have a black set there, but I don't think I want to use black dimensionals on this. So always remember, you can use the edge of your dimensionals. These are all dimensionals as well, right? Everything along the outside edge. So once you've used all the hex pieces in the inside, you can go to the outside of your dimensionals and they work absolutely just the same. They do the same trick as the dimensionals that are all in the middle. Okay, put a couple of those on, put a couple in the center for some strength. Wow, that one just jumped right off the page. Put a few in the center for strength. 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm going to pull in my take your pick tool and I'm just going to poke the backs of these off. Such a great tip. You just poke the back of the backing paper. Oops. That one didn't stick down very well. Put in my little garbage can off to the right that I have there. Okay, and then I'm going to place this on my card, making sure I open it up first. I don't know what's wrong with that one. Okay, and then we're going to diagonally place this on the card. I want it to look like it's a Polaroid that's been placed on a wall in like a cabin or on a table in a cabin. Okay, so there we've got that. Then I'm going to take out my trees here and we're going to do the same thing. I'm just going to pick out these little bits with my take your pick tool. Such a great tool. Put some dimensionals on the back of this one. Now this is going to sit in this corner here like this. So I'm only going to put dimensionals on this side and I'm going to put a little bit of glue on this side. So I just want to make sure that I've only got dimensionals on this side. So I'm going to go like this. I know where my spot was. Another way you can do this is by going like this. You take a Post-it note and you place it over the area that you want to have glue, and the remainder area will be where your dimensionals go. So I can see here that I want my dimensionals. Now where did I put those sneaky little things? Ah, there they are. I always have a messy desk, so I have to find stuff. And these edges are great for little pieces where you're just trying to, you can see here I've got these little squares I can use between the circled areas. Then I can pull off like a big one here, bigger half size one here. Put it there for some stability, but this spot's really small, so again I can grab some of these small square edges here. There we go. And then I know the rest of it can have glue on it. So I know up here I can put some glue into some of these areas because they're going to be laying flat on the already dimensioned area. Now when I go to put it on, like this, my dimensionals won't get in the way. Oh, I forgot to take my backings off, didn't I? Let's do that first. It's been a while since I've done a video, so be patient with me. I'm just not in the swing of it like I was at Christmas, that one. When I did 12 of them. 12 videos in 12 days. I was getting so good by the time I was done that set. Okay, there we go. We've got our trees down that left-hand side there. And then I'm going to take a glue dot, lovely glue dot here, pull that out, and we're going to place that on our glue dot, our little bow there. I'm just going to put that on the bottom of that tree there. And there we go. We've got our lovely little card. We're ready to go. It looks like a Polaroid picture sitting up on the wall. And then to make it a little bit extra special, because it's always nice to do without like overly feminizing the card. I don't want it to be super feminine like a floral card or anything. But because it's a mountain range, I figured I could get away with some Wink Stella. Love this stuff. It just adds a little shimmer to your projects. I don't know if you can see, like it's just a nice shimmery pen. And I'm going to show you what the card looks like now. So it's very flat color, right? And I'm going to actually take this Wink of Stella and I'm going to put it inside the areas that are depressed on the mountain ranges and along the top edge of the mountain range. Just that top edge there. Nice little bead of that Wink of Stella, and just underneath these impressed. I'm not gonna, actually I'll do the top of this one. But yeah, I'm just gonna do those ones. I'm not gonna do these bottom ones. But now you can see there's a slight sparkle to the top of those mountains, almost like they're snow-kissed. Just a little bit of snow left over on there. Okay, so that is my card for today. I hope you like it. I hope it inspires you. And please let me know if you like the design. I would really appreciate like the thumbs up, or if this inspired you to create your own mountain range stamps and cards with this lovely Scenic Adventure stamp set. I thought it was a really fun way to show it, and it just made me think of Lake Louise. There's another question. Has anybody been to Lake Louise? I would love to know if you've been to Lake Louise or any of that area around there where all these beautiful colored lakes are. Emerald Lake, like Jasper National Park, like just, it's such beautiful, beautiful mountain lakes in those Rockies. Thank you again for watching today. Again, I hope this inspires you, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye!